again. It's been so long since you've been here.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here in the studio of Unity 93.3 FM and of course Unity TV. Beatrice Adamu Iji is my name this lovely Monday morning, and thank God it's Monday, the 16th day of the month of October 2023. Of course, in the studio, I'm not alone. I don't do this alone. I have Mr. Shoaibu Duro in the studio, and together we'll take it up on the segment of Unity Trend. And so I'll let him say good morning as usual. Duro?
Thank you, Kulbi. Good morning, viewer and listener. It's a pleasure being with you this beautiful Monday morning. We look forward to another interesting interaction.
Yes, as usual, we beg that you keep your dial locked to the station, Unity 3.3 FM and Unity TV. Yes, of course, the very first segment of Unity Trend, which of course starts at 8 a.m., usually is that moment with which we bring to you issues that has to do, with Nigeria and beyond, and that has to do with the world entirely. And so a newspaper review, we call it, and just after 30 minutes within it, and then once it is 8:30, we come up with a topic, and then we discuss in depth. And that segment, we call it our Unity Transit, and that usually takes us from 8:30 to 9 o'clock. And from 9 to 9:30, it will be time for our listener and our viewer to just make inputs as regard issues trending and also issues we raise in any segment of Unity Trend. And so thank you so much for always, keeping your dialogue to us with us on Unity 93.3 FM. And so at this moment, let's just begin to see how we would push it on today, and especially because it's Monday.
Yeah, it's Monday, the first day of the week. Yeah, it's normally different in varieties of ways, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, everybody's looking fresh, everybody's looking handsome and beautiful and younger than probably the previous.
Yeah, I love it when you say looking younger, because I really don't want to get old anytime soon, except after I would have, make the impact I desire to make.
Yeah, well. You I think you're gifted with a unique, physique, aren't you? Because you must be clocking 50, aren't you? But you still look.
Let's talk about my age for now. Let's just go straight to see what we have. Maybe we'll see someone getting clocked.
Are you also afraid of death? You don't want to leave us anytime
soon. It's not much about death.
When we attribute a lot of age to people, they run away from it because they don't want to die anytime soon.
The system doesn't permit people to want to, you don't get to do the things you would have loved
to do, definitely.
You would have done before you get to some certain age.
And I think will be that's actually a cause of it's been one of the causes of frustration and depression for a lot of people.
Frustration and depression and forgery.
Definitely.
You get to want to see if you can just bring down your age so that it will allow you to be able to get employment.
And I think will be it's part of the systemic issues we always talk about. The system doesn't give people opportunities for self-actualization, and so at the age of 40, 50, you're still lost. You don't even know what you're doing. You're not sure what's going on in your life and things like that. It's been a cause of frustration and depression, for lot of people and things like that. Unlike what we see in developed climes, where at the age of 20, 25, people already have a sense of direction. They already are benefiting from the system and already exploring opportunities and things like that. And maybe we need to look inward and see what we can do to make sure the system gives people opportunities for self-development and things like that.
And we have to keep keep talking about it. Also, I learned also that there was this bill sent across just so to have people not being employed based on their age limits and things that you just have people, let them, if they can serve, why not just step in
and I think at the end of the day could be when a graduate is already in his maybe 30s, right? When a young man is already in his 30s, by the time he finishes university, and then you say that you actually need a 25-year-old, with a certain amount of experience, cognitive experience. I don't know how we can actually balance these two. This is the issue, because as a result of systemic challenges, access to education itself is very difficult, isn't it? That's the issue. People, await admission from universities and things like that for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and by the time they eventually secure admission, they are already in their late 20s. By the time they finish, they are in their early 30s. They can't go for youth service and things like that. And then again, inability to serve is itself another problem, because potential employers will keep asking for discharge certificate and things like that. These are the issues. And then again, I think like you rightly said, this whole issue of age limit for this whole issue of age requirement. Well, I do understand that if a job givers or employers will always want people who will be able to serve for quite for a reasonably long period of time and things like that. But at the same time, you don't blame the young man or the young woman who graduated at the age of 31 or 2, because it's the system, isn't it?
It's the
and then
system,
if you say that such a person can't have a job because of their age factor and things like that, you're also creating another problem for the system, because they will actually be compelled to explore alternative opportunities in order to be able to survive, which might end up not being palatable.
Okay, Tinubu has been fair in appointments, says Ato Eze. Okay, and maybe we'll just begin there. This whole conversation started when you're saying I look younger than my age.
I was just joking when I say you were in your 50s. I was just joking. But again, I think even given your age, which I already know, I think you look younger than you should actually look.
All right then. So why don't we just go to see what we have on National Daily? This one has to say it is about Tinubu and then having to do a very nice employment there. Appointment, so to say. So let me just give it to you so that you can scroll it down for us. At this point in time, our listener, like we have always been saying, is a segment where we get to see how we can, pick 1 or 2 headlines and then we review. We call it review segment of Unity Train, and it's all about you. We try to see that headlines that has a lot to do with that it's relevant, not just headlines. And so let's see what we have. This one, maybe we just start with this one that says oil marketers short the filling stations as scarcity spread to Lagos environs. Is it okay we start here?
Yeah, well, there are lots and lots of headlines as usual. You did mention something about Tinubu being said to actually have been fair in appointment, and then the issue of scarcity and things like that. So which one do you well, you're the boss here, so you decide what comes and goes. Which one do we start?
No, don't do that with me, please. You just take it up as from anywhere, from any angle. After all, these are issues we really want to review and see how it affects the common man.
So
wherever we start, actually,
I can exercise some discretion. Right? Okay, now let's talk about the issue of appointments, and then maybe we can look at the issue of, could be, I think this issue of nepotism and tribalism and ethnicity and all other primordial issues that have actually, created suspicion, especially when it comes to inter-ethnic or inter-religious relations among Nigerians. It's something that actually, has been there for quite a while. And anytime, a president comes on board, you discover that members of certain ethnic or religious group, are either jubilating or sort of, become skeptical due to fear of the unknown and things like that. And apparently, I think it's probably because of where we're coming from as a country and all of that. Of course, it's a country that has a colonial history, as a result of which you discover that ethnic and religious bigotry has actually seemed to actually have formed part of the national psyche and things like that. And so when President Tinubu came on board, of course, many Nigerians, especially from the southwest, were sort of happy, and all of that, because like they would always say, Namu ya Samu, one of our own, is on board, and so we're going to be better off and things like that. And at the same time, you discover that a certain part of the country was sort of skeptical, because like we've seen over time, sometimes certain ethnic or religious groups have actually had raw deals with certain people as a result of their ethnic or religious identities and things like that. This is the issue. And so even now that President Tinubu has continued to make appointments and things like that, I think the issue of ethnicity and such other primordial factors seem to have continued to actually, influence certain decisions and maybe triggered certain opinions among citizens and things like that. Now, Ato Eze, was actually speaking, I think, at the 65th birthday of Reverend Patrick Aluk, is it Alukuk, or what's his name? A prominent religious scholar who heads one of the churches in Abuja, and so Arthur Eze was actually saying that he feels that President Tinubu has been fair as far as the pattern of his appointments are concerned, and I mean as far as the pattern of his appointment is concerned and things like that. But of course, like I did say, many Nigerians will actually have something to say about that. This is the issue, and I think, like I've always said, yeah, to a fair extent, we could say that President Tinubu has been fair, especially when you look at, some of the occupants of certain positions and things like that. For example, nobody had ever thought that the North Central was going to be able to produce, anything close to the secretary to the government of the Federation. But we now have a certain George Akume, actually occupying that position. And I think that that's a sort of a balancing act, isn't it? Because of course you've got the president from the southwest, you've got the vice president from the northeast, and then you can't have the chief. I mean, you can't have the secretary to the government of the federation, from from the any other. I mean, from the same region and things like that. So George Akume is there representing the North Central, and I think that's a fair deal for the North Central, isn't it? This is the issue, especially given that I think since 1999 till date, the North Central hasn't had an opportunity to actually present somebody to occupy such a position, and things like that. So I think that's actually a good one. This is it. And so when you look at such, appointments and things like that, you could say that, certain part of the country which hitherto, never had a fair advantage as far as the Nigerian project is concerned, actually being carried along and things like that. So I think that's a good one. But again, like I've always said, I mean, this is a country where, ethnicity and, religiosity, seem to supersede every other consideration and things like that. So when a person comes from a certain ethnic or religious group, you would normally expect that, such, an identity would certainly have something to say, will certainly play a role in terms of certain decisions that such a person makes and things like that. So even as we talk about how fair Tinubu has been in appointments and things like that, I think there are certain appointments that will seem to to suggest that the president seems to actually be inclining toward a certain ethnic group and things like that, which is something that is excusable, right, as far as the Nigerian system is concerned. For example, I am aware that the current, the newly appointed chairman of the EFCC is Yoruba, isn't it?
Yes.
He is Olukoyede, somebody, I can't recall the surname, is Yoruba. And then of course the CBN governor, is also Yoruba. The chairman of the FIRS is also Yoruba. The chief of army staff is Yoruba. The chief of police is Yoruba and things like. So many people feel that, look, the appointments are Yoruba centric and things like that. And like I did say, you can give Tinubu the benefit of that, can't you? I think and sometimes you don't blame people when they take certain positions. I think, in fact, like I did say, I don't have any problem with the fact that some of these appointments seem to actually tilt towards a certain ethnic group, as long as they can deliver the goods and things like that. And then again, when was the last time that we had a Yoruba person as chief of army staff? It's been a while, isn't it? And so I think it's not bad that a person from the southwest has been given the opportunity,
especially if he can deliver.
Especially if he can deliver. And I think that Taurid Lagbaja is somebody with a rich history as far as our security issues are concerned, and so we want to believe that he is good to go as far as his portfolio is concerned. So I don't want to look at these issues from the prism of ethnicity and things like that. This is the issue. And then of course, if you talk about even again the Central Bank of Nigeria, when was the last time we had a certain Yoruba person or somebody from the southwest as occupant of that position? It's been a while, right? And so I feel it's not a bad idea that somebody from a certain region is being given the opportunity to serve in that capacity. This is the issue. And then again, if you can even talk about, even the EFCC. I have always said that we must be careful not to sort of northernize the EFCC, because as far as I know, the people that have occupied this position since its creation have always been from the northern part of the country, and that is not fair, is it? We had, Anuhu Ribadu, we had Farida Waziru, we had Ibrahim Magu, we had Ibrahim Lamurde, and then, and all of that. Right, so I think it's not a bad idea that somebody from the southwest has been given the opportunity to serve in that capacity and things like that. So I think for me, people might feel the appointment are Yoruba centric, but again, I think for me it's a balancing act, isn't it? Because some people deserve opportunities to serve this country, I think, and things like. And at the end of the day, I think the consideration should be fitness for purpose, competence and ability to serve, and not ethnic identities and things like that.
Right. Well, that is it. Let's see what we have again from our next headlines at this moment. It's been a good one. We want to say a very big happy birthday to Reverend Patrick. Also, the celebration was actually on yesterday at St. Louis Catholic Church in Abuja.
Yes.
And so we say our heart goes in celebration with you and your loved ones, even on that. And at this point, I think still on this issue, I think why don't we go to having to do with that of the fuel thing, in Lagos and so on and so forth. So, okay, oil marketers short filling stations as scarcity spread to Lagos environs.
Well, I don't know what we, this whole issue of fuel scarcity could be, seems to have defied all orthodox solutions and things like. I don't know what the country has to do to actually address this problem. I think it's ironical that a country that is said to be the 5th major producer of oil, actually has had to contend with oil scarcity, and things like that within. I think that's ironical, isn't it?
This is not that one of a story we would have loved to have it in such a time. And as a people and as a nation, considering our position in terms of, oil productions is concerned. So this is not expected of us. And then having every Nigerian put to all this hardship in the name of oil productions and things like that, that is not helping at all. And Nigerians must have been into this hardship caused by this fuel thing for a very long time. That is expected by now. We're beginning to have some relief somehow, but that seems not to be the issue.
The case, well, I think there are systemic issues. I've always talked about this. There are things we need to be able to do within. And as long as those things are not addressed, this whole issue of fuel scarcity will actually continue to linger. And that is not supposed to be, given the fact that the country, like, we both, have alluded, is the 5th largest producer, of oil. I don't see how you can have, 100 bags of rice in your house and then your family still goes hungry. It's ironical, isn't it? When at the same time, people from neighboring countries are actually having, free lunch as far as access to Nigeria's oil is concerned and things like that. But what are the issues? Of course, I think the recent, scarcity in fuel supply might have actually been occasioned by, I think, a scarcity of, or rather, a scarcity of, foreign exchange. I think that is actually one of the things that stakeholders in the, industry have actually made us understand. Access to, the dollar is now a bit difficult because of, increase in exchange rate and things like that. A dollar now exchanges to about, a naira now exchanges, for about 1,000 or more to a dollar, and that is very unhealthy because it then actually means that the oil marketers or, will actually have to spend more, on importation of oil and things like that. And the problem here is that if they have to spend more dollars or more naira on importation, it actually then means that the end user will also have to pay more. Yes. Because at the end of the day, these people are in business and they want to maximize profit, don't they? They want to maximize profit. Sure. This is the issue. And so I think, the scarcity of foreign exchange has been part of the issues. The central bank has said it's going to see what it can do to, increase access to the dollar and things like that. But that remains to be seen. And as long as, oil marketers have no access to the dollar, I think I will continue to contend with this issue. That is number one. And then number two, despite the deregulation of the, downstream sector, we still have a situation where, the NNPC has been the sole supplier of the product. And I don't know what's really going on. Ordinarily, deregulation is supposed to mean liberalization of the oil, or the downstream sector, so that as many people as possible will be able to supply the product and things like that. But the NNPC, is the sole supplier of oil, and that has been a problem because the oil marketers have not had easy access to the product from NNPC itself and things like that. So I think that's been part of the problems. And then, of course, according to stakeholders in the industry, there are issues that have to do with poor road networks and things like that. Sometimes moving the product from point A to point B is itself a problem. And then coupled with even the security situation in the country, sometimes, drivers, of tankers have to avoid certain places, for security reasons and things like that. So you discover that it takes a while for, the product to be able to be moved from point A to point B. You understand? These are issues. So
supplying the product has been a major problem also.
Sorry?
I mean, supplying the products to get it to the right designated...
that's what we're saying, moving the product from point A to point B is a problem because of poor road networks, right? This is the issue. And then, given the fact that many parts of the country are not safe or secure, you discover that drivers of oil tankers are sort of compelled to look for alternative routes where they can actually move the products from one point to another, and that has also been a problem. So I think these are issues that need to be looked at. But on the whole, could be, I think even the issue of non-functional refineries has also been part of the problems. I've continued to say this, could be, and will continue to reiterate the same thing. There's no way you can be one of the largest producers of a product, and then within or internally you don't have the capacity to be able to refine the product. I think that is highly ironical, isn't it? It's not supposed to be. I think what needs to be done is to ensure that our refineries are actually fixed, because no matter what we do to ease access to the product, it will continue to actually remain a mirage as long as we cannot actually, or we don't have the capacity to refine oil within the country.
That's a big issue. That's a big issue. And that is why I think a lot of people celebrated the fact that the Dangote refinery would be in use before a time like this. And so
but could be even Dangote's refinery has not taken off. You and I know that it has not started work, right? And we had talked that by now, and of course Dangote himself did promise that by July this year, of course, he was going to start production, but that has not actually been done. We've not seen that yet, and so we don't know what's really going on. But at the moment, I feel that the Nigerian government has to see what it can do to ensure that our refineries, our moribund refineries, are actually revitalized, so that Nigeria can actually produce the product. Can refine the product within. Because I think what's been going on here is a situation where we export crude oil to other parts of the country for refinement, and then we have to pay for transportation or the movement of the product from Nigeria to where it can actually be refined. And then after doing that, we also have to pay for the refinement itself. Right, and then after doing that, we have to actually, import it back to the country, where we also have to pay and things like that. So if you look at, the fact that we have to pay for exportation, and then we have to pay for refinement, and then we also have to pay for importation and landing costs and things like that, there's no way fuel will actually not be scarce. There's also no way, fuel will not be very, very costly for the end user and things like that. So I think these are some of the issues that need to be looked at going forward if we really want to bring an end to, recurrent fuel scarcity, and things like that in the country.
Yes, of course. I think we may have to look at how
we seem to be having, connection problems with the phone and things like that.
Well, let's just see if we have one more to just see what we'll do around it, especially this one that has to do with vehicles, working tools, not for members, reps. I want to believe this too has a direct impact. So, our listener and our viewer will want to hear some more about this. New vehicles, working tools, not for members, reps. Okay, the House of Reps has confirmed that the members of the 10th National Assembly will soon get vehicles to ease their work
movement
as the so I don't know but it is something we have to look at this morning and get to know. How does it really affect us as a people? Do they really need this in a time as this? Should something else be done instead of having new vehicles coming around as well?
What could be? They have to have vehicles, right? I think we need to be fair to ourselves. They need vehicles, don't they? Because they are servants, aren't they? They are people we've sent to work for us, and could be
they are our servants.
They are our servants, except if probably something has changed as far as the arrangement is concerned. But as far as I know, as far as this arrangement is concerned, they are our servants, right? And we are the bosses. Although in Nigeria, I think the reverse has been the case. The people you ask to do a job for you turn around to become the bosses and things like that. But ordinarily, that should not be. This is the issue. But of course, like I was trying to say, I think when you give people a responsibility, when you ask people to discharge a certain responsibility, you also find ways to motivate them to discharge that responsibility to the best of their abilities and things like that. And I think that that is also why, world over, taxpayers' money is used to, provide some level of comfort for, public servants, just so that they are able to, make decisions that will have far-reaching impact on the lives of the majority and things like that. And I think that it's standard practice to make sure that lawmakers, political office holders enjoy some level of comfort and luxury, so that they are able to have the mental stability to be able to make decisions that will address living conditions and things like that. This is the issue. So I feel there's nothing wrong with that, But I think where Nigerians have problem is the fact that maintaining the lifestyle of Nigerian politicians seems to be constituting a drain on national resources, and that is where majority of citizens actually have issues.
So how many of these members are we talking about here?
We're talking about 109 senators, could be, and then we're also talking about 360 members of the House of Reps. And so if you do the mathematics, we're talking about around 501 or 400 and something. Well, I have always never been good in mathematics, so I can't do the maths, but I think 360 plus 109 is around 4 something, right? We can't do the math at the moment, but I think it's a huge number, isn't it? And then if you look at the fact that hundreds of millions have to be spent on each particular vehicle for each member, I think it amounts to billions of naira. This is the issue, and so like I did say, there's nothing wrong with that ordinarily, but where we have problem is the fact that sometimes you really wonder what is happening to these vehicles, because virtually year in, year out, you hear about, vehicles having to be purchased for lawmakers and things like that. And then you begin to wonder what is happening to maintenance of these vehicles, because, looking at the amount, that is actually voted for each of these particular vehicles. Yeah, I think ordinarily, we should have a situation where each particular vehicle is usable, right, or utilizable for maybe 4, 5, 6 years. This is the issue. But it's
8:30 and we may go on a break. Please,
okay, maybe when we return. Okay, or we should round up.
Why not? Why not we round up?
So I think this is something that has to be looked at. There's nothing wrong with buying vehicles for lawmakers and all of that, but again, I think we need to do something to to actually cut down costs of governance, so that we can free up resources to address other challenges that have actually faced the nation and things like that. According to some figures here, between 2011 and 2015. 3.5 billion was actually spent. That is the 7th Assembly. And then between 2015 and 2019, that is the 8th Assembly, about 4.7 billion was actually spent. And then, for the 9th Assembly, that is between 2019 and 2023, about 5.5 billion naira was spent, 800 million naira more than what was actually spent previously. And then according to some projections, between 2023 June and June 2027, about 40 billion naira will actually have been spent on purchasing cars and things like that. And I think that is too much, could be. And so we want a situation whereby cars that are purchased, for this particular assembly will be usable even by the next assembly and things like that. Having to change cars every 4 years is something that is not sustainable economically, given where the country is, at the moment.
Well, thank you very much, our listener and our viewer. It's been a wonderful time having you tuned to listen and, of course, to watch us from wherever you're doing that. At this point, we'll go on a short break. When we come back, it's going to be a whole lot of other time for us to take a ride with you again. Stay tuned. Thank you.
Mr. Politician, it's good to see you again. It's been so long since you've been here. You had me thinking you were dead. How's your taxpayer mansion? How was your...
Please pay attention. It starts from the foundation. Everybody needs somebody. Everybody needs some love. You turn a blind eye and care nothing less. Say it's just business, all about the money. You are so unbothered as long as they pay. Say it's just business, all about the money. You know they're on a fast lane, but you've got business to run. So you look away the other way.
It concerns you. It a kill law, it a kill dreams. It a land people for jail. War against drug abuse.
Mr. Politician, it's good to see you again. It's been so long since you've been here.
Lovely, and I'm so happy to be in the studio this morning, being the 16th day of the month of October 2023. Beatrice Adamu AG remains my name, the anchor of Unity Train this lovely Monday morning. And so in the studio this morning, I've been with Doro Shaibu. He's still in the studio. If you don't mind, I'll let him say good morning again, because it's good to say good morning a million times than to be quiet when you should say it. So, Doro?
Yeah, well, the Hausa person will say, you know, it's better to greet more than to fight more. So, yeah, good morning once again, viewer. Thank you for patiently staying tuned.
And of course, in the studio, myself, my humble self, of course, and Shaibu Doro. We are being joined by a friend of the studio and a friend of our listener and viewer. He's Professor P.H. Mayi is in the studio, and I'll let him say good morning to our listener and our viewer. Prof.
Good morning, Kulbi. Good morning, Mr. Doro. Good morning, our listeners and our viewers. It's a wonderful, beautiful Monday morning, and we're going to continue to have a fantastic time this morning as we look at issues that affect all of us, our nation, and even around the world. So please stay tuned to Unity FM Radio and TV.
Oh, lovely. If someone tells you, sorry, this is because it's just an expression of good intention. And if someone says, forgive and let go, this too is an expression of good intention, but from a desire that you may have peace within, because you may not have yourself go through that kind of a peace that you need within without you letting go of some things done to you, maybe by your neighbor. So when you let go, when you forgive, of course, you would have peace within, and of course, that peace, you will be able to translate it into some meaningful things around. And so this day, we'll be talking about what you need to do, what I need to do in order to ensure that we bring development using peace as tool. And so our topic this morning remains the importance of peace in national development. That's what we'll be discussing this morning, and I'm so happy to have someone who believes in the greatness of Nigeria. Professor P.H. Bamayi is in the studio. Professor P.H. Bamayi is that one Nigeria who by any means will always say Nigeria is a great nation. No matter what, we are a great nation. And he introduced himself even when there is no Nigerian who is ready to say I'm a Nigerian. Professor P.H. Bamayi would say I'm a Nigerian, I'm from Nigeria, that great nations. And so this morning we'll get to hear from you some more. Good morning once again.
Thank you very much, Kobe. Thank you, listeners and viewers, once again. I think every Nigerian should be proud to be a Nigerian, in spite of the challenges we're having in our country, in spite of the problems we've been having over the years. Those of us who have been privileged to stay outside the country would tell you that you are much better off here in Nigeria, even than outside. I can tell you Nigerians who work in the US, in the UK, and other places, they have to run 2-3 shifts. Some of them have to combine 2-3 jobs. They earn the money, but they're not enjoying it. Imagining working 8 hours here, you go work another 8 or 6 hours somewhere, you go another place, you get some dollars and send it to Nigeria. And the people here in Nigeria will say, wow, they're enjoying there in the US. How is enjoying, you know? Because when you convert the small dollars, it becomes a lot of money, thousands of naira in Nigeria for us here. But the guy there is suffering because he has no time for himself. And everything there he has to pay in dollars. He has to buy his coffee in dollars. He has to buy snacks in dollars. He has to pay bills. He has to pay, tax. He has to do so many things. The rent is even, I was telling some people that, do you know that we pay rent outside the country on monthly basis? Every month they say, you mean it? I said, yes. Rent there is monthly. In some places it's weekly or, bi-monthly. So every month you're paying rent, and it's a lot of money. That money, if you convert it to naira, you will have paid 2 or 3 years rent here in Nigeria, but you're paying every month. So every time you are piling up bills, you are paying bills upon bills upon bills upon bills. So it's not really a life of enjoyment, outside of there. But here in Nigeria, man, with maybe some little money, you can enjoy yourself. You can have some good time, and you can have some relative freedom, I mean, we don't know what we have, maybe until we lose it. Out there, just greet somebody on the street and you see what happens. He will say, do I know you? Why are you greeting me? Do I know you?
Yes.
Here, you can just greet anybody, you want, and all that. Try to do that, Outside of here, you have a lot of challenges. People are very private. People are very, individualistic. You can just ask somebody a personal question, you land in problem, because the person feel, how can you ask me? That's a personal question.
At this point,
yes,
something funny. I think I could be. You and I did share something funny.
It crossed my mind just now.
Somebody, a Nigerian, actually studying in the UK, actually stumbled on a white lady in the morning, and then he was asking her, "Hey, lady, are you a virgin?"
That became a legal issue.
And then it became a serious legal issue. Yeah. Like you said rightly, Prof. You can just say hi to somebody,
and it's okay.
And then, here in Nigeria, everyone says hi to everyone. You can just walk into everybody's house and get water to drink, food to eat, and things like that. Prof. I mean, what do you want to say about the extremely individualistic nature of life? In that part of the world, and what we actually have here.
Yes. We have to really thank God that we have a lot of communal life here. When you have a problem, people come to your rescue. Neighbors will come, sympathize and empathize.
If it's a naming ceremony,
naming ceremony, you want to do one thing or the other, but there, nobody comes. you have to be invited. Even when you are invited, you have to reply the invitation.
I love it.
You know, because you dare not just go to somebody's house. Why are you coming to my house? You know, people have even lost their lives because they dare to just enter somebody's house and just knock, and the person carries a gun and feels it's an intruder. You didn't tell me you were coming. You know, because they're very individualistic. Here we are communal. It's like one person's problem is the problem of the whole community.
Yes.
Whereas there, somebody is passing through crisis, somebody is suffering, somebody is dying, and the neighbors, members of the community don't care.
Nobody
you have
cares.
to call the police. You have to call maybe the social welfare, you know, and other places. And other people, your neighbors are not ready to help. So I think that we must really appreciate God for what we have in Nigeria and Africa. And in spite of our many problems, there is cause for celebration.
Okay, so now let's go deep into our topic, the importance of peace in national development. What is it that our listener and our viewer is expecting? What should he or her be expecting from such a topic?
Listeners and viewers, I want you to take a look at the nations that have developed, nations that are great today, nations that are mighty. Just reflect, think about them. Think about the nations that are doing fantastically well, economically, politically, educationally. In your mind, name 1, 2, 3 or more of such nations. And I'll show you nations where they have peace, they have tranquility. You cannot develop and grow in the midst of crisis. I mean, look at the nations that are plagued with crisis. Are they doing well? Are they growing? Are they developing? Are they advancing in the midst of those crises? Talk about the nations that are great. Those are nations that are experiencing seasons of peace. And that's why we're saying that for us to have development, for us to maximize our potentials as a nation, we need peace instead of having conflicts, violence, communal clashes, fighting every now and then. What we need is peace if we want to make progress. Can you imagine? Nigeria loses over 122 million naira on daily basis. What we lose because of the security problems we have in the country. To security. Every day, I'm not talking about week or month. Multiply that by 1 week, 1 month, and 1 year. And you see how much we're losing. Since we started fighting Boko Haram in 2009. Imagine what we would have used that money to do in terms of education, in terms of hospitals, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of employment, in terms of building industries, factories all across the nation. It is because of the lack of peace in our nation. That's why we are losing millions every blessed day. Do you know that the only money the governors don't account for is security vote? And that security vote is humongous. It's a huge part of the budget. They will not give you any account. They collect that money called security vote in the name of maintaining peace, you know. And of course, we know that they use it for many other things instead of, security, and all that. But this tells you how important it is to have peace. If we have peace in our nation, we're not going to be having an unlimited amount of money that is channeled as security vote that our executives don't have to give an account for. It is because there is no peace. It is because we have kidnapping here and there. It is because the bandits are there killing people every day. It is because we have ISWAP there, terrorists. It's because we have the Boko Haram terrorists. It's because we have the IPOP terrorists. It is because we have armed robbers on our streets. It's because we have all manner of criminals. And it is because one ethnic group is not ready to live in peace with another ethnic group. Even people who share the same religion, they still fight each other because they belong to different ethnic groups and they have different interests. And we have all manner of fights. Political fights are there because somebody belongs to another political camp, political party, is eliminated. And sometimes even within the same political party, you have factions that are fighting and they're ready to kill and eliminate each other. Now, tell me, in the midst of all this confusion and chaos and pandemonium as a nation, how can we develop and become a first world country? That's what we're talking about. In the midst of this confusion, chaos, violence, conflicts, there is no way Nigeria can maximize her potentials. There is no way Nigeria can become a developed nation because we are besieged by so many crises. We are besieged by so many challenges, by violence, by conflicts, by all manner of nepotism, religious bigotry, fights here and there. You know, you just wake up, you're suspecting your neighbor because maybe he belongs to another tribe or he belongs to another religion. And look at what we do, for example, here in Jos. We've segregated ourselves, you know. The Christians will stay in one place, the Muslims will stay in another place, you know. We don't even trust each other, you know. And you see, this thing comes because of lack of peace in ourselves. A person that is not at peace with himself cannot give peace to another person. And the person who wants to have a conflict fight with another person is because he feels, you know, I am maybe superior to that person. Who does he think he is? I am better than that person. Or I just hate that person because of his maybe religion, tribal inclination, because I feel that maybe I am more superior, I'm more better, you know, I'm a better human being than him. And who does he think he is? And you know, the reason why we do many of these things is because we don't see each other first as human beings. If I see my neighbor as human, I will first look at him. This is a human being. He is just like me. He may come from a different ethnic group. He may come from a different religion. He may have a different background. Whatever it is, he's a human being like me.
And has the same human features.
He has the same human features, the same human personalities. He has feelings. And what I will not want to be done to me, I should not do it to that person.
Okay.
You see, if we look at ourselves that way, we will avoid a lot of these conflicts. We will avoid a lot of these unnecessary fights, a lot of this unnecessary demonization of each other. We will avoid a lot of this suspicion. We're always suspecting one person or the other. Think of that person. This is a human being first. He is like me. I am like him. No matter his background, no matter where he comes from or what his name is, we are first of all human beings first.
Okay, Prof, honestly, it has been so good listening to you as you take us on this ride. I want you to just help us share what will be your own take. People feel in the face of challenge like a crisis, where you are being dealt with by your neighbor, or for instance, you have a situation where you are asked to forgive and proceed and keep going, keep living together. When you tend to want to forgive, and then your own people will feel that you are a coward, why should you forgive? So what would be your take?
Yeah. People think forgiving someone is a weakness. What they don't know is that it is strength. Nelson Mandela was in prison for 27 years. What was his offense? Because he wanted a better life for his people.
For his people.
Because he said, look, blacks and whites. I don't like using that word because I keep telling people I've not seen anybody that is really white. I think the world is colorblind. So, but whether you're Africans or non-Africans, you're first human beings. We're first of all human. And that was what Nelson Mandela wanted. Why should another race be controlling another and subjugate them and make them look like animals? So that is not right. So he became a freedom fighter. Because of that, he ended up in prison for 27 years. After 27 years, he was brought out of prison, and apartheid in South Africa ended. He became president of South Africa. I mean, becoming the president, number one citizen. That is the time to take vengeance on all those who afflicted him in prison. Some of us remember the story that one of those that used to beat him in prison used to even urinate on him and humiliate him and abuse him and all such. They met with Nelson Mandela one day in a restaurant. Nelson Mandela just decided to go and sit next to him to eat with him as the president of the country and feel free and talk with him. The man could not raise his head. The man was so embarrassed. The man was so humiliated. The man felt so bad. But Nelson Mandela said, it is all right. I will not press any charges. I will not revenge. I will not do anything to you. I have forgiven you. And he brought the whole nation together and said, look, this is the time for forgiveness and reconciliation. Let's forget what has happened in the past. You can imagine if the Africans in South Africa wanted to revenge against the Europeans who oppressed them. To what extent? Many of those who oppressed them had already died. They're going to take revenge on their children. And how much revenge is going to be enough?
How much revenge
will be enough? At what point are you going to say, all right, we've had enough revenge now. We've taken enough pounds of flesh, so let's stop. At what point? It is absolutely useless. And that is why you see cycle of violence continues, repeated cycles of violence continues, and it only increases violence.
It only increases violence.
You have raised a lot of interesting issues as regards, forgiveness and the need to coexist peacefully. And let's come back to Nigeria. You said something in your, opening remarks earlier about how, individualistic and private people are in, developed climes and things like that. But you discovered that, there are still sort of, pull factors, if I may use that. You still have, a number of Nigerians and Africans wanting to leave, their countries for such countries, despite the individualistic nature of the lifestyle there and things like that. Probably because those societies still give them opportunities to thrive. I'm aware that there are Nigerians that today, occupy important positions in government in America and the UK and all of that. But back in Nigeria, you discover that a person is born in a state, he grows up there, attends school there, marries probably a lady from that same place and all of that, but he can't even become a commissioner or something of that nature. What would you say, Prof. Sir, about, this sort of, let's say, discriminatory tendencies that characterize inter-religious or inter-ethnic relations among Nigerians? You
see, Mr. Doro, many years ago I was staying in a southern part of Nigeria somewhere. I don't want to call the name of the state. And I was into private practice. When I contemplated taking up an appointment or, looking for a job with the state government, you know what they told me? You're not from our state. Go to your state. Go back to your state and get a job there, not here. But I'm a Nigerian. But they said, go back, go to your state. Go and get a job there. You're not going to get any job here because you're not from our state. One of the reasons for violence, why there is no peace, is when there is inequality and when there is lack of fairness. When people don't have equal opportunity, such a nation is not going to have peace. When there is no fairness, when there is no equity, when there is no justice, there will not be peace in that nation. When men and women are treated differently, there will not be peace in that nation. When opportunities are not given to people equally, there will not be peace in such a nation. That's why we're having all these problems. You see that Nigerians who are extremely qualified for positions, they are not given based on merit. You will see somebody who is not qualified. The least qualified is given because of ethnic or nepotistic interests, or some religious interests, or some personal interests. And that's why we keep having these problems. That's why we cannot help but go back here in Africa. Let's take one or two examples. There have been conflicts in Rwanda for many years, for generations, that culminated in the Rwandan genocide. When Paul Kagame came in as the president, he said, we have to stop this. Now Hutus, Tutsis, whatever ethnic groups, no more, we are all Rwandans from today. No more ethnic group. No Muslim, no Christian, no traditional practitioner and all such. We are all Rwandans first and foremost. And look, men and women, I give you equal opportunities. You're looking for a job, equal opportunity for everybody. Today, Rwanda is one of the most peaceful countries in Africa. And it's one of the fastest growing economies in Africa. I've been to Rwanda several times. I feel more at home and more peaceful in Rwanda than I do in Nigeria. In Rwanda, I can come out at 2 a.m. I can lie down in front of the house. I can walk the street. If I forget my phone, I don't even need to pick it because I'm not afraid that something is going to happen. Here in Nigeria, I dare not try it. Even in my own village, I cannot go out at 2 a.m. because there is no peace. So, you see, when a country doesn't prioritize peace, there would not be prosperity and growth and progress in that country. In Nigeria today, you're looking for a job. They will ask you, what is your name? What is your religion? What is your ethnic group? Which state do you come from? Which local government do you come from? Why do you need all those details? I mean, who needs that to employ somebody? Why do you want to know whether I'm a Muslim or Christian?
And the same Nigerian will go to America,
yes,
apply for a job, and not have to answer these kinds of questions.
Nobody will ask him, are you a Muslim or Christian? Nobody will ask him which village you come from. But here in Nigeria, we do that. So we have fundamental problems. And as long as we don't address these issues, could be, viewers and listeners, I'm afraid that Nigeria will be pursuing peace in delusion. For many years to come, peace will elude us because we are not addressing the big elephant in the room. There is something fundamentally wrong with our constitution. There is something fundamentally wrong with our idea of federal character and all such. There is something fundamentally wrong with the way we've structured our government. There is something fundamentally wrong with the way we've copied the presidential system from the United States of America. But when we were pasting it here in Nigeria, we pasted it and it scattered and we did not format it to be like the American type. We say we're doing presidential system, but we're actually deceiving ourselves in this country, where there is discrimination. I mean institutional discrimination. You will see it very plainly. I can give you several examples. For example, let me tell you, in Nigeria we have federal universities. Go to these federal universities. Tell me how many of these federal universities, the vice chancellors of those federal universities, are not from the states where those universities are.
Say that.
Here in PLATEAU, this is the first time in more than 30 years that we are having the vice chancellor of the University of Jos coming outside of PLATEAU State.
Professor Ishaya Tanko.
Professor Ishaya Tanko. Go to other places, you will see the vice chancellor is always from that state. You go to Bauchi, you go to Kano, you go to Meduri, you go to wherever, he'll be from that state, but it is a federal institution. In those days, when our leaders were trying to do what was right, we had Professor Shehu Umar was the Vice Chancellor of University of Nigeria in Nsukka, and he comes from Borno State. Professor Shehu Umar, emeritus late of blessed memory. He just died about a month ago. He comes from Borno State, but he was the Vice Chancellor of University of Nigeria in Nsukka. Can that happen today? I tell you, the Igbos will chase away the Borno man if he becomes a Vice Chancellor of University of Nigeria in Nsukka. You cannot. In fact, I dare you go to University of Ibadan and see how many lecturers there come from the northern part of Nigeria. Go to Umudike, go to Nsukka, go to universities in the east and see how many of those lecturers come from the northern part of Nigeria.
And you also see the universities that we have in the northern part of the country too.
And the same thing in the northern part of the country. But the northern part of the country, I can tell you from experience, are even doing better. For example, in the University of Jos, we have so many Igbos and so many Yorubas.
At some point, there were even more, non-northerners.
Probably
in the University
because the North was educationally disadvantaged, at a certain stage. But if you go to the South, you go to Federal University of Technology, Owerri, for example. Go to University of Nigeria, go to University of Agri Umudike. Go to any other university. Go to the Southwest, for example. Go to University of Lagos. Go to University of Ibadan. Go to University of Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta. Go there. Just do a statistics, because I've been around these places. I've been privileged to go around the country, and I can tell you that we have a lot of work to do to really be a nation. Nigeria is still a country. We are not yet a nation. We're trying to become a nation. A lot of things come into place for nationhood. We're still extremely tribalistic. The average Nigerian first thinks of himself as Hausa, Fulani, Igbo, Yoruba, or Birom before he thinks of Nigeria. The average Nigerian is not ready to die for Nigeria, but he can die for his ethnic group. He can die for his religion, but not for Nigeria. We've not that nationalistic instinct, nationalistic mentality, that nationalistic, culture is not yet there.
Okay.
We have a long way to go.
Oh, Prof, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I would always prefer to just be out there and listen, or even get to watch when you speak in the studio. But you see, somehow life has it that I should be in the studio while you speak, Prof. And so, do we want to be a nation, or we want to remain a country? Stay tuned. We'll be right back after this short time out.
Mr. Politician, it's good to see you again. It's been so long since you've been here. You had me thinking you were dead. How's your taxpayer mansion? How was your...
I was the head boy in my primary school, senior prefect and best graduating student in my secondary school, but drug abuse almost ruined my life.
I was on an average of 2 grams of cocaine per day.
I was taking 8 ampoules of pentazosine daily.
European shisha, cocaine.
I became a user, a dealer, and a gangster.
I saw other users drowning. I knew I didn't want to be like them, but I was already trapped.
My family disowned me.
My employment was terminated.
I sold my car, sold my house. I'll go out well-dressed and return shoeless, shirtless in exchange for drugs.
I was seeing things that were not real, and I once stabbed myself because I felt something crawling under my skin.
I contacted NDLEA and started therapy.
I spent 3 months in therapy.
I spent 8 months.
It's easy to relapse, but your mind has to be stronger than the cravings.
Drugs does not love you. You are not the one using drugs. Drugs are the one using you. Say no to drug abuse.
Are you bored and need some company? Get a TV experience like no other on Unity TV. We are turning up the hits with captivating TV shows, electrifying political programs, music, movies, and lots more that will leave you craving. I'm sure you want to know more. Tune into Unity TV today and let the excitement take over.
Mr. Politician, it's good to see you again. It's been so long since you've been here. You had me thinking you were dead.
I'm so happy knowing that you are still tuned to Unity 93.3 FM, and of course you're still there with us on our TV arm. And so, Beatrice Adamoizi remains my name, the anchor of Unity Trend, this lovely Monday morning. In the studio, it has been Shabodoro and Professor P.H. Bamayi. We've been looking at the issues surrounding the fact that we have to be a nation and not to remain, continue being a country. And so, this is one time for you to now call us and then be a part of the conversations. If you really want us to be a nation instead of just being a country, the number to call remains 070-3235-3315. And if you want to be there on our Facebook page, you go Unity Radio FM/TV. Just throw your comments there. I will read them at the appropriate time. And for SMS alone, you go 0808-478-9 in 4 places. I'll read them too. But before then, I will just beg that you give me 3 minutes of your time, and then I'll give it to Professor P.H. Bamayi to just cap up on what he has for us this morning. Prof, back to you.
Thank you very much, Kobe. Viewers and listeners, we have no alternative to peace. If there was no peace around here, even though peace is temporary for a short while, we will not be in the studio. We're fighting war. We will not be here in the studio if go to Gaza and see what is happening. With the bombs that are exploding here and there, people are crying. People will not be thinking about maybe doing one breakthrough research or doing something, when they are fighting for survival. They don't know whether they will even live for the next moment, the next minute, So we need peace. And every Nigerian should find a way to pursue peace. Peace with yourself, peace with your neighbor, peace in your place of work, peace in your business, peace in your community, peace wherever you are. Every one of us should become an ambassador of peace. And I tell you that people who are peaceful make a lot of sacrifices. They might look like fools because they give up a lot of things. The man who received the Nobel Prize for Peace, along with Archbishop Desmond Tutu, the Dalai Lama. The Dalai Lama was chased by the Chinese from Tibet, more than 50 years, chased away from his country. But he decided that, look, we are not going to fight. We are people of peace. We will pursue a peaceful resolution of the crisis. We will always be people of peace. And sometimes when you are pursuing peace, you look like the fool. Because maybe somebody is aggressive and say, let's fight, let's end it. But there is no end to fighting. If you start fighting, you will continue fighting, and you will keep on fighting. You will never stop fighting. There will not be an end. But if you decide to sit at the table of brotherhood and say, please, let's talk. Let's make peace. What is the problem? Why are we having this crisis? Let it come to an end. Then you will discover that the fight was not even worth it after all. And you will discover that peace is better. And peace is always better than war. Peace is always better than conflict. Peace is always better than fighting. You make more progress when there is peace. You develop more when there is peace. You advance more when there is peace. You will live longer and healthier and stronger when there is peace, rather than when it is in a time of conflict.
Yes, very quickly, before we put on the studio line, please. You've been there in the academia, a prof now. People seem to believe that you don't get to have admission just because of your affiliations to either religious affiliations or ethnic nationality or so. At some points, you pointed out rightly, that even working as a lecturer in some institutions, probably you will not be given the opportunity to serve or to be a lecturer there. And also students getting admissions into universities are becoming problematic because they are not, it's perceived not to be from their name. You understand that they belong to this religion. From their name, they belong to these ethnic nationalities. And so they are the ones to be given admission. They are the ones not to be given admission. Do you feel the same way?
Could be indeed our listeners and viewers. I wish that from the depths of my heart, I wish that I could say it is not happening. I wish I could say it is not true. Unfortunately, it is true that these things happen. In our institutions, these things happen all over the country. And I can tell you that it has even happened to me. And it's unfortunate that sometimes people will see you first as you belong to this religion or this ethnic group before you are given this position. And if they discover that, no, he's not one of us, you're denied. You can apply for a job, you're qualified for it, but because you belong to a certain religion or to a certain ethnic group, or you come from a certain part of the country, or whatever, you're denied, even though you're the most qualified. You'll be denied. Even admission. It happens. Even admission of students, I can tell you that it has happened not just to me, it has happened to relations, to friends. In fact, we've had cases where a friend was given admission in a certain part of the country and his name was removed, before the admission was released. He saw his name there, he was sure, but later they said, no, remove him. We don't need people like this from this part of the country. Why should he come here?
When the institution is probably
the institution is a federal university. But his name was removed. To this day, that friend did not get to read the course he wanted to read. He had to read a different course and graduated. He's a professor today, but that was his bitter experience.
Imagine if he would not let go or forgive.
Yeah. If he would not forgive, he would do the same thing to other people. So the cycle of evil continues. And that's why it is high time that as a country we truly become a nation and we base things on merit. Do you deserve it? I don't care what your name is. I don't care where you come from. You merit it, you get it. You don't merit it, you don't get it. It doesn't matter whether you are the son or daughter of the president of Nigeria. Unfortunately, we've not yet reached that level. We are not yet at that level could be. And it's really unfortunate. We are hoping that one day we can have a Nigeria where everybody has a sense of belonging and is proud to be a Nigerian, and everybody is treated equally. By the time we attain that kind of Nigeria, we'll have less violence, we'll have less conflicts, because everybody has equal opportunity. If there is a vacancy for a job, everybody will know I have an equal opportunity to get that job. I don't need to go and get a short note from Senator Kulbi.
Yes,
I don't need to go and get a short note from His Excellency the Governor also blessed, that I can just apply based on merit, I will get it. But unfortunately, we are not yet there. We hope that we get there someday.
Amen. Thank you very much. Now, our studio line is booting in for you to call, and let's hear from you. 0703235315. For our Facebook page, just go Unity Radio FM/TV. Just drop your comments there. And for SMS, 08084789999. Before you begin to call, already know if you call, you have to stick to what we do here. We believe in peaceful coexistence, and so you may want to promote that, and that we will tolerate. Anything short than that, we will not take it here. And so you don't need to be all out to insult anyone or bring in some statements that will not help build the coexistence that we are trying to promote on Unity 93.3 FM. And remember also that comments made on this platform are not in any way the position of Unity 93.3 FM.
Hello,
TV.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning.
I'm greeting Doro and the professor. They have said everything possible that they have said.
Oh, thank
All
you.
they have said is,
What's your name? Your name?
Yeah, it's Minasara from Lucas.
Okay, Nasara, it's good to have you again on this segment.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. You're welcome.
Yeah, my own is what Prof has said. That's the right thing of Nigeria. Nigeria has to come first before other things.
Okay.
Because if we said religion or Christian or Muslim or pagan, anybody that will make Nigeria to be great, that is my own contribution, sir.
Thank you very much, Nasara.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. This one from Facebook page said, good morning to all the guests, the gentlemen in the studio, and thank you for the great work you are doing in the studio. The prof is as usual at his very best, and we really enjoyed every word from him. The insightful information from him will always be useful and guide us for future purposes. Muhammad Tajuddin from Naraguta. Muhammad Tajuddin, thank you for sending in your comment. Hello, good morning.
My brother, good morning.
Thank you very much. It's good to have you. Who's on the line? Okay, Jude, it's good to have you. Have a minute, please.
Thank you. My brother is speaking very, very well, but somehow getting it wrong because in future, one Professor Gowok has become a vice GC there. So when he's telling us that it's very, very hard, at least when you're a public place, like they try to, use at least a big policy to put it in order.
Yes.
So that if we go well.
Yes.
If you are, at least if you do well, you must be recognized.
Yes.
Any place that you are. As I'm in Plateau here, I have spent a very long time in Plateau. If I do well, Platoonia can make to be somebody or something in Plateau.
Yes.
So what I'm just trying to say that he's doing very, very well, but I'm just trying to correct small something. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. All right, there's a particular institution that is someone other than the very person, I mean, people from the locality became a vice chancellor.
Yeah, could be, let's comment about that, He's right. We have trickles of that here and there. I've said it. Professor Shehu Umar was VC of University of Nigeria. I've mentioned that, and if Gomok has become a VC, but is it the present generation?
Situation, yes.
We are talking about what is happening currently. And even currently, there might be maybe one or two trickles, maybe in a private university, it might even be federal, but it is not the way it is supposed to be.
And it's usually very difficult for that to happen. I think that's the whole point.
We have to admit that it's very difficult.
Very difficult.
Here in the University of Jos, we are trying to do as much as we can to make things better. And must commend the University of Jos especially in recent times, the efforts that have been put to at least bring in some sense of equality, give more opportunities to people, and give more room to merit. I think it's commendable, but we can do more. So what we are saying is that we are not saying that it has not happened, or it doesn't exist, but what is the percentage? How much percentage when you look at it and compare it to the tribal sentiments or indigenship, and all those things that come into play.
All right, thank you very much. Let's keep it up. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Sakundi.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Go on in a minute, please. What's your name? Good.
Yes, well, I want to appreciate the thought and for the room for, doing justice to the topic of discourse. Having said that, talking about this can never be overemphasized. We have been seeing this Point Without Member on this very platform and other platforms as well. As a Christian, Jesus is the Prince of Peace. Isaiah chapter 9 verse 6. And the only way we can have peace is through Jesus. Luke chapter 7 verse 36 to 50. And I am talking to religious leaders. If we will be sincere to ourselves and tell our members and our followers the truth, I don't think we have problem of a breach of peace in the Plateau and Nigeria as a whole. But simply because people have this sensational interest that politicians will approach them with whatever offer that they seem to tell their members the opposite. That's why we are having issue of insecurity here and there. And until people tell their members the truth and the citizens themselves, that is the followership.
Thank you.
Until they do the right thing by themselves, we will continue to have this breach of peace in the Plateau and Nigeria as a whole. There are so many African countries and the world at large who are doing well. The Prof has said it. He said Rwanda, they experienced killing, but they decided on their own to live in peace. That's why Rwanda is
thank you.
Inculcate that into our thinking faculty in order to get it right.
Amen. Thank you. Yes, from our Facebook page, good morning to you all. Wish you the best. Aminu Aliyu. Thank you. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Gobi.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Doro and the guests in the studio.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, I do. We calling you from Bochi Road.
It's good to have you.
God will continue to bless you.
Amen.
Amen.
You see, my major take is this. Both the Quran and the Bible preach peace. We should ensure we live in peace with one another. And it's high time we understand that God said, vengeance is his. You see, we human beings used to say that, no, he has done you the bad, you have to revenge. Let's leave everything for God. You see, the scripture that said, when you are being slapped on the right side, you should turn the left. It's just like a form of parable to let us know that it's just to forgive. Let us forgive one another and live in peace. When in a situation where you have a reprisal attack, you have done this to me, this has happened, and we even give God the glory on the plateau. Back there, even though you cannot speak outside, if you hear Ampara, you are on your toes. So you are running.
Thank you.
Thank God, to God be the glory that if at least there is peace. I could remember back then when we have Kwananzone, we used to sleep outside. I'm a Christian, but we sleep outside with our Muslim brothers on the plateau here. At Yenshanu, Kwananzone, I can never forget. It's because of peace. So if there is no peace, I don't know where we are going. And it's that time our leaders also unite us. Let them unite us. Because you see, these political parties, you vote for social person and go after this, are part of the things that are disturbing us. So it's that time we build our nation and don't allow the labor of our heroes past to go in vain.
Thank you very much, Thank you. Okay, Facebook page, Unity Train students, Haruna Amadu Moazu from Enshanu, the in-house guest speaker brilliantly. May God bless you, sir. Peace is the backbone for every success and achievement. Peace is a collective responsibility which has no gender barrier, religion, or tribal differences. Let's strive and struggle for the peace of the one another. We are all one creators, created by the ultimate creator. May God save us. Amen. Thank you, Unity students there. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Thank you very much for calling.
My name is Peace Ambassador Usman Big Seven. I'm calling from ZINARIYA.
It's good to have you, Peace Ambassador.
Good morning.
It's a pleasure.
I really appreciate your faith for the talking machine. Good morning, sir.
The talking machine. All right.
Actually, the worst thing killing this our country is nothing but egocentric tribalism and corruption. Believe me, if we can throw away all these three things I mentioned this morning, our country will look like Dubai. Today, no any state or nation will develop without peace and loving each other.
Yes.
Irrespective of tribe or religion. I, Usman Big Seven, the ambassador of peace, I always preach that peace is not the absence of war, but the presence of justice.
Wow.
Good morning. Have a nice day.
Thank you very much. This one say, wish you all the best from Jafar Isa till then. Kargiji, Wasar, PT, local government area, Kaduna State. Wow, he's listening to us from afar. I wish you tell us if you.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. It's good to have you.
Yeah, thank you very much. My name is Sadiq Umar. I'm calling from.
Okay, Sadiq Umar, you have a minute. Go on.
Yeah, I will comment to the prof. He has spoken very well, and he has spoken the minds of most of Nigerians. You see, Nigerians, there is a lot that happens to it, and the main problem is in terms of leadership. And this leadership now is a system, because the way we bring on a leader and the way the leader will bring is very, very expensive. You see, that's to say that if we need to get it right in Nigeria, there's need of restructuring in the sense that we have the cost of the governor's quarters. So if most of this position of leadership have not been in by the expensiveness of rally and political activities that will lead a person to a position, will do what the people will do. But you see that it's very, very unfortunate that the teachers, that they are one ruling the community, they are the one paying less. And while you see the politicians getting a lot of money, which is not supposed to be, if there is a code of governance, I think we get it right. But if there's not any code of governance, no matter how we do, we will continue in this kind of system. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think we'll just let Prof to answer to respond. But I'll just have the last one here from our Facebook page. This one is saying, good morning, Unity Train. We learned a lot from the prof this morning. I like his objectivity in terms of analyzing issues the way they are. Honestly, without peace, there won't be any developments. We have to do away with the issue of religion, tribe, and extremism. A prof is always a prof. Keep the good work, sir. And the Almighty will always be with you. And this one is from Nuhu Adam. He's saying, hello, good morning, Mr. Presenter. Thank you so much. And this will be our last caller today. Okay, I think we lost him. Prof, you may need to just go on to respond.
Hello?
I think he's on. Hello, good morning.
Hello?
Good morning.
Hello?
Hello, good morning. You are on.
Good morning to you.
Thank you very much. Who is on the line, please?
My name is Muryar. I'm calling right now from Katsina.
From Katsina. Interesting. Are you watching on TV? Or
Hello, are you me?
Yes.
Hello?
Hello, I can hear you. Hello? Oh my.
Hello?
The man from Katsina, I can hear you. Oh my. Oh my, it's so... Well, Prof, you made it, yes, yes.
Seems to be some connection problem.
Well, at least he has said hello, which is very important.
So, Prof, please.
And peace begins with hello.
Yes.
You're saying hello to your neighbor.
Yes.
Hello to your friends. And hello means peace. Salam, shalom. That's why when you greet people, you say peace.
Peace, peace.
Because there is nothing more than peace.
Yes.
Even God himself will greet us and say peace.
Peace.
Peace be unto you. So, this is where it all begins from. And that's why I said at the beginning that you need to have peace with yourself. Then you can give peace to your neighbor.
Yes.
If you're not at peace with yourself and you're full of crises, you're fighting within yourself, you'll be fighting with every other person out there because you're not at peace with yourself. You need to be at peace with yourself. And the importance of peace in national development can never be overemphasized. Because if there is no peace, we will not be able to move forward. If there is no peace, we cannot achieve our visions, our dreams, our aspirations. If we have no peace, we cannot become great. You can have a lot of money if there is no peace. The money will go down the drain. All that money will be wasted. That's why peace is very important, and that's why our government must invest in peace. That's why our constitution was very, very specific and particular when it says that the security and welfare of the citizens shall be the primary purpose of government. The constitution envisages that if there is no peace, if we don't have security, if we don't have welfare, we will not be able to make progress as a country. That's why it rested squarely on the head of the government, that the government must ensure that there is peace, there is tranquility. That's why we have law enforcement agencies, the police, to maintain, law and order, and all those things that are necessary and very important for peace. So, let me just say it very strongly, that every one of us Nigerians, please see yourself as a peace ambassador. Peace ambassador is not just the one who called.
And
every one of us must be a peace ambassador. Anywhere you go, radiate peace, spread peace. Let there be fragrance of peace around you. When people come close to you, let them feel peace. As the way you talk, the way you dress, everything you're doing, let it be peace and peace and peace.
Peace and peace and peace. With this, we've come to the end of today's edition of Unity Train. And thank you, everyone, for making it possible. A wonderful day. Thank you so much. Time is not on our side, and so tomorrow is going to be another beautiful day. But stay tuned for other programs on Unity 93.3 FM. Thank you, and bye-bye.
Mr. Politician, it's good to see you again. It's been so long since you've been here. You had me thinking you were dead. How's your taxpayer mansion? How was your... It's crazy you have a bodyguard.
pay attention. It starts from the foundation. Everybody needs somebody. Everybody needs some love. You turn a blind